President announced today that DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and the Justice Department are creating a joint operations center to, quote, investigate violent left-wing civil unrest, and there's an awful lot of that, despite what the liars tell you. Chad Wolf runs the Department of Homeland Security. He's the acting secretary. We're happy to have him on tonight. Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for coming on. Joe Biden today threatened, announced, predicted, choose your verb, that if the president's reelected, we will see more violence. Are you worried about that?
I'm not, Tucker, and that's, I would say that's a delusional statement. The idea that the president or this administration or the Department of Homeland Security is somehow the reason or the cause behind this violence is just absurd. Look, the department's been at this since early July, particularly in Portland, addressing some of this violent rioting and looting that was occurring, and anarchists targeting a federal building in Portland. So we've been at this for some time. We understand we've been caused or having been described as causing this violence. We know that's not the case. And now, before they ignored it, it then became DHS's problem, and now they're saying it's the administration and, of course, the president that's now causing this. So, again, all of these statements are absurd. They're not true. I think most reasonable Americans understand what's going on out there. And really the cause of all of this is local officials, state officials not taking this seriously enough from day one. When there's violence in your community, you need to restore law and order right away. We've seen that. It will work. We've seen it in Kenosha after several days. It's working. Places like Portland and other places need to take that same advice. They need to bring that law and order back to their streets so that the residents of those cities can feel safe as they go about their business every day.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. In the meantime, do you think Department of Homeland Security is getting the help it needs from the Justice Department? Why haven't we seen the leaders of Antifa and BLM arrested and charged for conspiracy under, say, RICO, like the heads of the mafia families were?
Well, this is something I've talked to the AG personally about, and I know that they are working on it. Look, we've seen about 300 arrests across this country regarding civil unrest and protesting, violent protesting, I would say, criminal protesting, criminal rioting occur. About 300 arrests. About a third of those or 100 of those arrests have been in Portland specifically, and I know the Department of Justice has charged about 74 or 75 individuals there in Portland with different federal crimes, and we'll continue to see how those investigations are going. The Department of Justice is also targeting and investigating the head of these organizations, the individuals that are paying for these individuals to move across the country. What we know, Tucker, is that we have seen groups and individuals move from Portland to other parts of the country.
Right.
We had about 175 arrests in Kenosha. Almost 100 of them were from out of state. So we know they're moving around. We've seen them in D.C., in Sacramento, and elsewhere. They're organized. We've seen similar tactics being used from Portland and other cities across the country as well. So we know that there's organization. I know the Department of Justice is also looking at that as well.
You're not allowed to fund crime, of course. I mean, if I do business with Iran, I go to jail. But we have domestic terrorism on a greater scale than we've had in my lifetime, 50 years. And the funders of this have not been exposed by the federal government, and they haven't been punished. And I'm confused as to why.
Again, I would say that, again, the Department of Justice, who has the lead in all of those investigations, are certainly moving as quickly as possible. Again, it's something that I talk with the Attorney General about almost on a weekly basis. The Department of Homeland Security, we're doing our role. We're making sure that the investigations that we're involved in, we're getting that information over to the Department of Justice, to the FBI, to those criminal investigators that are doing their job. Like you, Tucker, I wish that moved in a little quicker fashion. We'll continue to see how that is. But again, this administration, this president is committed to holding individuals accountable. I think once folks start to realize that if you want to riot, you want to loot, you want to do some of these other criminal acts that we see around this country, there's going to be consequences for that. And we're going to continue to move down that road.
I hope so. Mr. Secretary, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have to say, when they don't like somebody, justice moves very swiftly. Or when there's something that, I don't know, the Today Show wants them to do, they don't waste time. When some NASCAR driver said he was the victim of a hate crime because his garage door pull looked like a noose, they sent, like, I don't know, a dozen FBI agents down to Talladega. They didn't waste time. Why are they taking so long?